Welcome to the second long-termer update on this and I put that in inverted commas, E53 AMG Coupe 4MATIC Plus. Lots of words. Now, you might have already seen we did a sort of an unboxing video, as it were, so taking you through all the spec of the car. But in this one, I wanted to talk about the powertrain, because that was really the principal reason that I wanted to run this car. I could have asked Mercedes if I could have borrowed a 63, not of the E-Class Coupe, because they don't actually do that. They never have, which is, well, seems a bit odd really, but there we are. That's a question for another day. However, the 53 just intrigues me. It has done ever since it was actually unveiled at a Frankfurt Motor Show a while ago. And yeah, I wanted to get to know it. What is this all about? Is it a proper AMG? So what is underneath the bonnet? Well, there is a 3-litre turbocharged straight six putting out 429 brake horsepower and 383 pounds-foot of torque. However, where it gets really interesting is what sits between that and the 9-speed gearbox, because that is the EQ Boost system, and they call it a starter alternator. It's effectively a motor, an electric motor that does all sorts of things. It, for starters, powers the 48-volt electrical system in the car. It also acts as it sounds, a starter motor. The clever thing about that is that it's the stop-start function that it runs. Now, stop-start is something that fundamentally I think is great. You know, you sit in traffic or you pull up a junction whilst you're waiting. Why should you have the engine running, particularly in cities? The problem is that they can just be a bit sluggish really when they kick back in to restart the internal combustion engine. With this, because it's a sufficiently powerful system, it's seamless. Or not quite seamless, but you don't worry about it at all. You don't sit there waiting to pull out of a junction, fearful that the engine's just going to, leave you hobbled. What's really interesting though is what the system does for spirited driving. Now, I'll come into a corner like this and you just have instant response. That's because the motor, the EQ Boost system, adds in an extra 20 brake horsepower, but also an extra 184 pounds-foot of torque through that electric motor. And of course, it is absolutely instant. It also runs an auxiliary compressor, so that helps the turbocharger effectively in the turbocharged engine spool up more quickly and give you, again, more torque, more power, more quickly.
This was particularly apparent when chasing a light car company rocket recently. It was for a film, I wasn't just handing one randomly. The lighter car clearly wasn't trying too hard, but nonetheless the way the E53's engine response combined with the all-wheel drive traction to fire it out of corners was deeply impressive. It really did belie its 1,500 kilo weight disadvantage.
I remember driving a Honda NSX.
The current hybrid one, not an original, just to be clear.
And the thing that really impressed me about that was the fact that no matter what gear, no matter what the revs, you always felt like you were absolutely on the boil. So getting out of every corner, you were always bang there, out of the corner, which is the best thing in a way about an electric car. But of course with this, you've got the internal combustion as well. And what of the internal combustion engine? Well, I actually think it sounds really good. It's very quiet most of the time. When you're in eco or comfort mode, you don't really hear it. And I know that some of the sound is being piped through these Burmester speakers, but it sounds loud enough. I've got out of other things, 992 for a start, and actually got back into this and thought it probably sounds better, to be honest. There's a bit of BMW about it, which I suppose is not a surprise given that it is a straight six. But I like the way this sounds. The final thing to mention about this EQ Boost system is, of course, that it will help you with MPGs. So if I put it into eco mode and come back from the airport, say, which my journey's M25, M1, it's really not very exciting at all, and this will do, because I've seen it on there, 37, 38 MPG, which is mighty impressive for something that is then quick and actually interesting once you get to a nice bit of road. Is it a full-on AMG? No, the balance, it's got a nicely rear-led balance to it in the corners, but it never feels like the 63 models. And on track I did drive a couple of brief laps around Landau, and it just felt big, to be honest. So it's definitely a road car, but as an interesting road car, a car that does all sorts of things extremely well, yeah, I'm enjoying it. That's a bit more of an in-depth insight into the inner workings of this E53. Let us know what else you'd like to find out about this car. I'm probably going to do a video all about the tech on this, so make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, and I'm sure we'll do a your questions answered at some point, so keep an eye on the Instagram account at Carfection Films.